Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for an album review. But first, two things. One, I just hit 40K. Thank you. And two, we mustn't get complacent. We're still in the middle of YouTube's On the Rise contest, and I know originally I was 5,000 votes behind, and that I caught up, and I was in the lead, and I'm still in the lead, but our competition is no slouch. They're catching up, and it's going to be a close one. If you haven't voted for the needle drop yet, look for a link right below this video in the D box, and it will bring you to a page where in the upper right-hand corner, pick TND. And then you can pat yourself on the back because you've done your good deed for the day. Alright, so Veronica Falls, English band, some members from Glasgow, Scotland too, I believe. Been listening to this thing pretty hardcore for the past few days, and Cal Chesta's been overhearing it as well. Cal, what did you think of the Veronica Falls? Is she okay? No, that's the band's name. What did you think of the band?
What band?
Veronica Falls.
Oh, alright. Is she okay?
I hate Cal Chesta. To be honest, Veronica Falls doesn't really reinvent the style of music that they're playing. But they do play this stuff really well. They manage to add a lot of detail to this indie rock sound while simultaneously making it sound so light, simple, and like effortless. They sound pretty similar to a lot of groups from the UK who got labeled as either being TWEE or C86 in the 80s, like Pastels or Shop Assistants. It's a sound that a lot of groups on the same record label that these guys are on are trying to recapture and relive. Groups like The Pains of Being Pure at Heart, Procedure Club, Brilliant Colors, and these groups all kind of have their own take on this style. The muddy bass guitar, the kind of jangly guitars made gargantuan by reverb and effects, very simple, straightforward, driving drums, and these vocals, these boy-girl vocals that sound so breezy. They sound like basically anybody could sing them, like la 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 la. Now Veronica Falls has their own kind of spin on this stuff. This thing is definitely a perfect fall record. I mean, this thing sounds like the leaves changing on some trees in a graveyard on a very gray, windy day. And outside of the style that these guys clearly put themselves in, I'm catching some whiffs of some Velvet Underground, of some Pixies or The Breeders. And I'm hearing a lot of influences coming from like English folk tunes too, with how these guys arrange their vocals on a few of these tracks. And the vocals really are kind of the biggest treat for me on this album. They're kind of what makes this thing both sweet and sad at the same time. If this thing is a fall album, the vocals really are kind of the chilly wind blowing through the trees, making the leaves fall off. The melodies here, they're just either so sweet and catchy and just stick in my head instantly, like on the song Found Love in a Graveyard, which is kind of literally about falling in love with a ghost. And on the other side of the coin, you have songs where the melodies, the vocals are kind of eerily beautiful, like The Fountain. The only thing I love more than the vocals on this LP is how these guys structure their songs. The parts themselves are pretty simple and skeletal, but you've got a lot of different parts in each song. Moments where these guys are speeding up and slowing down and playing double time, or coming up a little segue or a little fill into the next section. You've got plenty of bridges and solos and moments where the vocal melodies are altered slightly from line to line so that they don't repeat entirely. These guys really do keep the longer tracks on this album from stagnating, which is great. Now, even though the music here is very sweet, it's very approachable, it does have a post-punk influence. You know, it's got some speed, it's got some momentum, there is a bit of aggression there, a bit of an edge. And that, you know, really keeps me interested. Plus, this sounds like the recording of a band playing together, not a bunch of people performing on click tracks, so there's definitely that momentum. I guess in terms of negatives, I wish this album had a little more meat on it lyrically. There are moments on songs like Found Love in a Graveyard and Come On Over where I kind of wish I wasn't hearing the same lyric or the same hook repeated over and over and over. And some of the songs here are a little too kind of breezy for their own good, to the point where I don't even remember them all that much, like All Eyes on You. I'm feeling a light 8 on this. Loved it. Loved a lot of songs on here. But what do you think of this LP? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Why? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Veronica Falls, Forever.